Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from VOA, Voice of America, published on October 20th, written by Aline Barros. Mexico argues Texas immigration law will harm relations. Really? I don't see how. Unless it's the fact that they are going to have to take back their own fucking people and deal with them. I think so. That's probably more the reason why they're like, yeah, because it isn't the Mexican citizens, because they don't give a shit about them, really. Because they're not even paying for them, and these illegals are sending a shit ton of money back to Mexico. They don't want that gravy train to end. You know, besides... Oh, excuse me. A Texas law banning sanctuary cities would harm diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Mexico, Mexico argues in a brief submitted to the appeals court reviewing the law. Now, how the hell is Mexico, going into an appeals court in the U.S. and using this argument and having it fly? The judge should have been like, no. There's the door. Go through it. Get on a plane. Go to New York City. And bitch at the UN. That should have been the end of it. It said, see ya. But, no. Go. Get on a plane. But, no. Get on a plane and go to New York. This is Texas. Go to New York City. And then still we would be like, go screw. Because this right here, if Mexico had one of their states pass a law like this against illegal Americans, and America said this to Mexico, Mexico would be like, hey, hombre, fuck you. Fuck you, hombre. Go suck a burro dick. You know, I mean, that's the mentality. But us, on the other hand, oh, no, we can't have that. No. It's ridiculous. The brief filed Thursday with the 5th District Court of Appeals in New Orleans says whenever state or local officials act improperly in upholding the sanctuary law, the U.S. federal government would be unable to resolve the problem or prevent similar ones. Thus, it runs the risk that actions of a state or its officials regarding immigration enforcement could irreparably damage U.S. foreign policy interests with respect to a particular country. Oh, come on. Improperly upholding the sanctuary law. You mean properly upholding the law. By properly upholding the law, it could cause your panties to get into a bunch. Let's be frank and honest here. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. So you can go fuck yourself on your bullshit theory there that you're trying to push Mexico. Texas sanctuary law, known as SB 4, may be the toughest in the country. In addition to banning sanctuary cities, jurisdictions that choose not to comply with federal immigration enforcement, it allows law enforcement officers to question the immigration status of people they detain or arrest. So, yeah, okay. It goes after the people that, you know, that aren't enforcing it, which it should because they're breaking the law. It allows local law enforcement officers to ask the immigration status, which they should have the right to do, in areas especially where there's high illegal population. So I don't see a problem with this. If Americans have to deal with TSA checkpoints well within the borders of the United States and get asked for their papers, why can't illegals? I don't see the problem with it. Might as well not have a double standard, you know what I mean? And the law seeks to punish local government department heads and elected officials who don't cooperate with federal immigration detainers. Yeah, exactly. Which are federal requests to turn over immigrants possibly subject to deportation. No, they are subject to deportation. Unless they get a Hail Mary play somehow, they are getting their asses kicked out of the country. Let's be bluntly honest about that too. Punishment could come in the form of jail time and penalties that exceed $25,000. Good. That should be a federal law. That way these little fuckwits in California dare to pull this shit, they get their asses thrown in jail. Maybe they'd friggin' wake a few up. Passed by the majority Republican legislature and signed into law by the state governor in April, and May. SB4 was promptly challenged in federal court, which ruled in August that the measure could not take effect because it conflicted with U.S. immigration law. No, it does not. This is what's fucked up. Okay? The court that's saying this has a Democrat in it. It does not conflict with immigration law. It enforces the state's employees. It compels them to enforce federal immigration law. Let's be honest about that. Come on now. Don't be dishonest here. I mean, I know you have a Hispanic name here, but come on now. You're a reporter. Who, what, when, where, why? Not my feels over reels, okay? That's not how life works when you're a reporter. If you're doing commentary like me, put your feelings into it. But you're reporting the news. Be honest. And there was no need to throw in the fact that it's a majority Republican legislature, unless you try to say, look at those evil Republicans. They want to kick illegals out of the country because they drain the resources of like, you know, the ones, you know, of Americans, and they like literally work under the table driving wages down and send money home that should be going into the American economy. Come on now. In late September, an appeals court allowed partial implementation of the law, specifically the section requiring jail officials to honor all detainers, while the court considered the appeal. Enter Mexico. On the record with the appeals court as opposing the law are most of Texas's largest cities, while 11 states and federal government have signed on to support it. Yeah. So you've got, and I love how you bring out the Republican-controlled legislature, but you don't talk about those cities being leftist, liberal fucking shitholes. Talk about slanting the fucking news. Those are leftist, liberal shithole cities, like Austin. No offense to Texas, but when you have all these Californians and leftists moving into your state, what do you expect? All right, I live in New England. I've seen Boston go from being, you know, liberal to far left fucking whack jobbish. So I feel for you. And I mean, I don't even live in Boston, but I mean, I live being in New England. I mean, New England could fit in Texas. So you get the idea of what I'm getting at. I mean, it affects me because it's within my sphere of region. And I feel for you on that. Okay. But let's, you know, you're a reporter. Let's report that side, that those are leftist cities. Oh, wait, you're a leftist, obviously. Yeah, that could be why. Mexico joined the cities after the law raised concerns in the Mexican community. Why is this even a fucking concern in Mexico? If they actually cared, they would tell their fucking their Mexicans here in America, you're there illegally, get the fuck back across the border. I mean, if they really cared about this situation, what they care about is, as I said, the fact that these people are contributing a large chunk of money into the Mexican economy with what they send home. It's shit like that Mexico cares about. Okay? Mexico also knows that you have a lot of shitty people. I mean, they literally, the Mexican jails, they let them out, they throw them on a bus, and they send them to the American fucking border. They've been caught doing this. They don't want those people back here. Back there, I mean. They don't want those people back in Mexico. They want us to have their shittiest people. Because their shithole would get even shittier. That's why. Plus other stuff that is not about the Mexican people. The Migration Policy Institute estimates that about 2.5 million people living in Texas were born in Mexico, and Mexico's brief says that SB4 has caused them fear, panic, and uncertainty. Oh, wow! Feelings over the law! Fuck their feelings! I want the law enforced. If they feel that way, if they feel fear, panic, and uncertainty, I know the easiest way to solve the problem. Go back to Mexico. Because then you won't have fear, panic, and uncertainty about being in America because you won't be here. Oh, very simple solution. Holy shit. Didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Between May and September this year, the number of phone calls to a Mexican government operation call center increased 818% over the same period in 2016. Why are these fucking Mexicans calling a Mexican hotline about their fact of being here illegal in the United States? Holy shit! Why the fuck would Mexico have a hotline for fucking illegals? Why? Why do they have a fucking hotline for Mexican illegals in the United States? And why isn't the press exposing this shit? Not like this, because this is fucked up. They're making it sound, oh, well, no, they should be exposing the fact that the Mexican government is complicit with their people coming here illegally and committing crimes. Because whether or not you want to admit it, you're here, that's a crime. Okay? Identity theft, crime. Okay? Murder, rape. Extremes, but still crimes. And there are rapists, Mexican rapists, drunk driving, crime. Okay, illegals that have had 6-8 DUIs. They keep coming back across the border. And I'm not saying all. Okay, hashtag not all. Alright? But the thing is, I'm sorry, this just blows my mind. The thing is that if they have this hotline and they're complicit, then they should be paying the United States government for their citizens' consumption of services. You know, let's literally send a bill to Mexico. If they're going to be complicit in this shit, let's send a fucking bill to them for what their citizens consume for services and everything else here in this country. It's only right, and it's only fair. Make them think twice, wouldn't it? Mexico's main argument, one likely to be echoed by other plaintiffs, is that the U.S. immigration law is a federal matter, not a state one. Okay, and states can enforce federal law. Sheriffs can enforce federal law. You can be arrested and charged by local. It can be escalated to a federal charge. Okay, and there is law on the books that actually has it so that law enforcement becomes part of like ICE with this. So to say that immigration law is a federal matter, not a state one, when there's a law that says that these states, their law enforcement can and should, basically be enforcing this. That was the whole thing that they tried to nail Arpaio on, remember? And they couldn't, so they came up with some bullshit thing of the asking nationality on his fucking employment forms for the sheriff's department, which every employment form has an ask the nationality section. So to try to say this is complete bullshit, because even the federal government couldn't even go after Arpaio for that one. They had to go after some bullshit. Courts should carefully scrutinize any state immigration enforcement law that potentially requires foreign governments to negotiate or otherwise engage with the different states to protect the interests of its nationals, the brief said, adding that the state laws have the power to damage U.S. foreign policy interests. So wait a minute. Mexico is saying, okay, well, wait a minute. We're going to have to negotiate with each... No, you negotiate with the federal fucking government. Period. Fuck you and this state bullshit, number one. Number two, you got no problem with California violating fucking federal law and creating sanctuary cities and saying we're not going to allow the feds to enforce federal law within our boundaries, you got no problems with that. So you're fucking hypocrites, Mexico. All right? You just don't want to deal with your fucking own people, and you want their money that they're sending home to keep coming in. Let's be bluntly fucking honest. You're sleazy, scummy fucking people in the government. And what are you doing meddling in ours? You don't see our government going into your Mexican courts saying, hey, stop having your prisons fucking release the worst of the worst, throwing them on buses and literally shipping them up to the fucking border. You don't hear us going into your courts and saying, stop sending your murderers and rapists to us. And you guys got caught on that multiple fucking times. You don't hear that from us, and we should be screaming at you for that shit. A federal motion filed with the appeals court a week ago argued that state and local cooperation with detainer requests is a matter of public safety. Yes, it is. When you have rapists in California, and this has been documented, they were literally letting rapists, illegal rapists, revolving door, in and out. Oh, you raped someone? Okay, we're going to leave you out on personal, like the idea of personal recog. Oh, yeah, just show up. Yeah, fuck you, they're going to show up. This is disgusting. It is a matter of public safety. Without such cooperation, such aliens, let's call them what they are, illegal aliens, would be released back into the communities, requiring federal officials to attempt more dangerous arrests on the street, the motion reads. Yeah, that's also another issue with the safety. Not only for the officer or the illegal, but also the general public. It's the truth of the matter. Let's, sanctuary cities make things safer and better. Okay, so yeah, let's put illegals that are dangerous criminals back out on the streets so that ICE, because INS hasn't been since the 80s and since pre 9/11. But ICE doing it, okay, going and having to fucking do raids or whatever. I mean, that's asinine. You have the guy there. Deport his ass. Oh no, we got to worry about the rights of illegals. What rights? They're not citizens. The Constitution guarantees rights to legal resident aliens limitedly and American citizens completely. That's how the Founding Fathers framed this shit. That's what they intended. I mean, this is just ridiculous. The Fifth Circuit Appeals Court is considered one of the most conservative in the country. Oral arguments for the case are scheduled for November 7th. So, hopefully in November, the appeals court tells Mexico to go fuck themselves, and that they're going to be seeing an influx of their own people back in the country, and that gravy train of money going across the border, it's going to start drying up, or at least shrink, as more and more self-deport and get deported. I mean, this is some asinine shit here. That Mexico would argue this. Actually, it's more asinine that a court would entertain it. I'm 42 years old. And I look at this. And in my lifetime, if you had asked me 20 years ago, all right, if you had asked me back then whether or not I would believe Mexico would be involved in U.S. immigration law and its enforcement, I'd be like, hell no. Now they have a fucking say at the table? It's like, come on now. This is some asinine shit. It really is. And I think I've broken this down enough and I've covered it well enough, so I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.